I love the names on this team. They have Sixto Sanchez, and they have my favorite name probably in baseball right now, Jazz Chisholm.
Showing emotion in baseball is terrible and should never be in the game.
It's weird how the dynamic works between sports.
But to win a championship, not only do you need great players on the court, but you need good chemistry, which takes time to develop.
Justin Fields is a all-time talent.
Corey Perry will give some veteran presence to the Canadians.
I feel like Luka will take that next step, and if he can get a three ball consistently around 35%, I feel like they could become a contender.
We can make jokes about you not being in the Super Bowl for 20-something years, but...
What's up, everyone? This is Justin Goldman from the Goalie Guild and Lift the Mask, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Austin and Kevin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NHL Opinions of the Week. And today we're going to be doing the top 10 Stanley Cup Finals as we continue our playoff push and coverage. Now, I am joined by the man that is sad to not have a top 10 player on this list, Austin.
That's true, but this is going to be an exciting Stanley Cup Final no matter what. This finals is between two teams that the Oilers haven't won since 1990. And the Panthers, who've only been twice in their history, have yet to win one. So this is a huge final for both of those fan bases, and let's get right into it.
Yeah, so we'll go number 10. I'll let you start off with that.
So I'm starting out with a pretty important player to the Florida Panthers. It was definitely huge for this guy. He stepped up to big moments, and it's Brandon Montour. Montour's had some big games. He's not been as good as he was last playoffs, and last year. Last year he had 73 points. He was 12th in Norris voting. This year only 33 points. And last year in the playoffs he had 13 points through 21 games. But this year 9 through 17. He's still very good. Extremely important to this squad because whenever he's playing well, it seems like the rest of the defense plays well as well. So that's my number 10.
Yeah, he was a tough cut for me, but my number 10 is Sergei Bobrovsky for the Panthers. He's done well. It's just he struggled a little bit this postseason, so to me, he's 10.
Yeah, I have him a little bit higher just because I think his impact on this series will be big. Who's your 9?
My 9 is another Florida Panther, Carter Verhaeghe. I think he's a really great forward. And will definitely be explosive for the Panthers this season or this playoffs.
Yeah, he's on my list a little bit higher than you. My number 9 is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He has 20 points in 18 playoff games this year. He kind of struggled during the regular season after having a great year the year before. So last year he had 104 points. This year only 67. So he's kind of struggled. This has been a down year for him compared to what I think I expected and the rest of the team expected, but he's had a great playoff push, a big game 5 against the Stars to take the lead in that series, and he'll be extremely important during this Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah, he did not make my list, but that's a really good pick. Who is your 8?
My 8 is Carter Verhaeghe. I have Verhaeghe just a little bit higher because I think he's just a tad bit better. It is really close. Verhaeghe this year had 72 points in 76 games. And during the playoffs, he's been remarkable with 17 points in 17 games. He's second on the team. We're tied for second with another player that will be on my list. But he's just a big player for this team. He contributes even strength goals, power play goals. He's the leading goal scorer for the the Florida Panthers during this playoff run. But it's been a big year for him. Obviously, he has made a Stanley Cup Final and won it back when he was with Tampa in 2020 when he was a rookie. So he has experience on this run, but he needs to do it with the other Florida team.
Yeah, it's a really good pick. Now for my number 8 is Evan Bouchard, the defenseman from the Oilers. He seemed to play well offensively for the Oilers against the Stars, and their defense has been better. So I think that's a credit to what Bouchard has done. But now I'll go into my 7, which is Alexander Barkov. I have a lot of forwards on this list because I think these are going to be some great offensive games. We'll have to see which defense steps up. But Barkov, I think, is a great forward and can do well defensively as well offensively.
Yeah, you and I are feeling different about some players. There's some players I have much higher than you. My number 7 is Sergei Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky only has a 908 save percentage during these playoffs. So, yes, he's not been as great as maybe he or the Panthers would have wanted. But last year, 915 the playoffs, he's been good. And when he is hot, he can be a game changer during a series. He's been remarkable in some series this year. He was bad against Tampa, but then against Boston, he really turned it on. He had actually, it was his past round against the Rangers that he had his best save percentage. During the Rangers series, he had a 921 save percentage, and he's starting to heat up. He had a shutout in game 1 against the Rangers in that 3-0 victory, and he'll be again, goaltending is so important, and I do believe we'll get to our actual finals predictions, but I don't think it's a hot take to say that the Panthers have the edge in goaltending, and that's why Bobrovsky will be huge in this series. My number 6, we go back to defenseman. It's another Florida Panthers defenseman, and it's Gustav Forsling. Forsling is really, ever since he was put on waivers by Chicago, has been a revelation for this Florida Panthers team, and during these playoffs, he has 11 points in 17 games. Very, very good. The crazy part is he's plus 11, Kevin, in these playoffs after being plus 56 during the regular season. His plus minus is remarkable. Plus minus isn't everything. I do think it's slightly overrated in some aspects because if you're playing a lot and your team is really good playing against bad teams, you have a much inflated plus minus. Well, if you're a really good team or a really good player on a really bad team, and you're playing a lot, you'll have a worse plus minus. It doesn't necessarily mean you're bad. It just means that you're not in the best situations at times. But it still is impressive, him having a plus 11 plus minus during these playoffs. And again, playing 23 minutes a night, just remarkable.
Yeah, that's a good pick. He sadly did not make my list. My number 6 is Zach Hyman. Personally, I really love Zach Hyman. I think he was the only one that really performed in the playoffs for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and now he's done great. Just benefiting being on the line with McDavid, but he also plays well, and that's why he's my number 6. I think he will be a huge player in this series.
Zach Hyman doesn't make my list mainly because when he was with Toronto, I didn't really feel the same way as you did. His last playoff run with Toronto in those 7 games against Montreal, he only had 1 goal and 0 assists in 7 games. Also against Boston in 2018, he had 1 goal, 0 assists in those 7 games. Yes, he scored a lot of goals with Edmonton, but I do think it's more playing with 2 of the best players in the world than it is actually him. And you do have to give credit. He scored 14 goals, but he only has 4 assists. He does not really contribute as a playmaker, but he can score. I just like Ryan Nugent Hopkins and some other guys for the Oilers a little bit better. My number 5, that was your number 5, right?
No, 6 was Zach Hyman.
Okay, so
I haven't said my number. My 5 is Aaron Ekblad, a defenseman for the Panthers. He has played well for them, and I like what he does. As a defenseman, he also can offer some offensive ability with from the defensive side. So the Panthers have a lot of good defensemen.
Yeah, Ekblad did not make my list. I think he's kind of struggled a little bit this year more than most would have expected. I still remember when back in 2022, he was 6th in Norris voting and was amazing. But this year, he only has 18 points in the 51 games he's played. But he is a part of that group. Kevin, I'm sure you've heard this, but of the top 4 picks in the 2014 draft, all 4 in this series, 3 of them for Florida: Aaron Ekblad, Sam Reinhart, and Sam Bennett. And the number 3 pick during those during the 2014 draft was Leon Draisaitl. So it is something that I was going to mention later, but I'll mention it now because Aaron Ekblad is a part of that group. But your number 5 is a defenseman. My number 5 is a defenseman. And this is where we get to Evan Bouchard. Bouchard is just remarkable. What he can do during a power play, and he's been okay defensively. He's not been absolutely amazing, but he's been really good. He's plus 14, plus minus 27 points in 18 games, 6 goals and 21 assists. He's second on the team in assists. and third on the team in goals, tied for third. He has more goals than Connor McDavid during these playoffs. He's remarkable. What he brings to that power play. He has 11 power play assists, Kevin, during these playoffs, along with 1 power play goal. Remarkable. A remarkable defenseman. My number 4 is who I feel is the second best player on the Florida Panthers, and that's Matthew Tkachuk. Tkachuk's remarkable. He's kind of had another down year compared to, again, what people expected. A lot of these players have. He only had 88 points this year, only 26 goals compared to the 40 goals, 109 points he had last year. During these playoffs, he is the leader in points for the Florida Panthers with 19 points, 5 goals, 14 assists during the 17 games that they have played so far these playoffs. He's a big part of their team. He gets a lot of penalty minutes just because he is such a physical player. He gets in fights. He makes people mad, and that's a part of who he is. So that's okay. That's what he's there to bring to the team, and he is still a remarkable player. Who's your number 4?
My number 4 is a Florida Panther. It's not Tkachuk. It is Sam Reinhart. He, of course, had a great season. I believe he had 57. He had 57. That's weird.
He had 57
80
goals,
points. He had 57 goals. Okay, I wasn't sure. I was looking at the wrong player there. But yeah, he had 57 goals. I was looking at Barkov and it said 57 assists, and I was getting confused. But yeah, 57 goals. I think he is a fantastic player, and he does a great job pairing with Tkachuk because I believe they're on the same line. I don't know if that's changed.
I believe that they are. Reinhardt's a great player. He did not make my list either. I kind of feel similar between Reinhardt and Hyman. And Reinhardt these playoffs only has 8 points or 8 goals and 4 assists for 12 points. And I don't think he brings enough defensively. He's had some selfie consideration, but he's not the greatest on defense. He is also really big on the power play, though. He had 27 goals on the power play during the regular season, which led the entire NHL. And during these playoffs, he has 4 power play goals. So he's big on the power play.
And then we'll go into my 3. He was your 4. It's Matthew Tkachuk. I think he is a huge player, and he seems to make these moments for the Panthers, and I think he will have a great series.
Yeah, it is definitely something that we will see is Tkachuk making big plays at times they really do need him. My number 3 is Barkov. Barkov, I believe, won his first Selke this year. It is something remarkable when he is on the ice because he's so good on offense and so good on defense. And there's not many players that are his level on both sides. And it is truly, they live and die with him. He is the powerhouse of this team, and they will go as far as he goes. Now, I'll go into my 1 and 2, but I don't really have a 2. It's 1A, 1B, and it's McDavid and Draisaitl. People are like, oh, McDavid's better. Well, if you look throughout their career, McDavid has 106 playoff points, while Draisaitl has 105, and both have played 67 playoff games. Draisaitl has 3 less points these playoffs with 10 goals and 18 assists, while McDavid has 5 goals and 26 assists, so he has 3 more points. But Draisaitl's a better goal scorer, while McDavid is a better playmaker. And if we go based on those, I think even though Auston Matthews gets the goals, when it comes to the playoffs and it comes to big moments, I don't think there's a better goal scorer in hockey right now than Leon Draisaitl. And when it comes to playmaking, you need a play. Even if that is a goal, it's McDavid. So I don't really want to say that McDavid is better than Draisaitl in a series like this because Draisaitl, I think, will have more goals, have the bigger goal contribution, but McDavid will set those up. McDavid will set up Hyman for a lot of goals. He'll set up Bouchard for goals. He'll set up Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for goals, and he'll also set up Draisaitl. But I don't think you can really separate these two as one being better than the other. It truly is a 1A, 1B situation because while McDavid is so remarkable, he does not score as much as Draisaitl. Again, McDavid only had 32 goals this year, while Draisaitl had 41. And McDavid's never had, besides last season, when he had maybe the best season in a very, very long time, getting 153 points, having 64 goals. That's the only time he's ever had above 44, while Draisaitl's had 3 50-goal seasons. So it is a 1A, 1B. I would say the 1B is Draisaitl. McDavid is slightly better, but the line is just so close that I don't want to give a definitive number one.
I like that distinction, and I'll probably side with you. My 1 and 2 was Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Draisaitl 2, but yeah, it's basically a 1A, 1B. These are two of the best forwards in the league, and we have them as the 2 best forwards in the finals. It is incredible that they are on the same team, and we'll see what they do. But I really like that distinction. I'll toss this over to you to close that out.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. I think this series will be good. Please let us know your predictions. We will obviously be saying ours in a future video that comes out the day of the first game, but please catch us in our next video.